Okay, so for this task, we are going to learn how to add AP on a wireless controller. So as a network engineer, you'll be replacing APs, you'll be installing new APs in a dead zones. These are common activities you'll be having. And I'm going to walk you through what you have to do on the wireless controller. In terms of the switch side, it's very simple. What it means is that you have your switch in your IDF, you have your AP on a ceiling somewhere. So the AP will have an AP name. Then you come and patch it to the switch. And as you patch it to the switch, you have to do your access port configuration by using the AP management VLAN. So in a corporate setup, every AP has a management VLAN. For remote office, sometimes we can use computer VLAN for the management of APs. But for the data center or for the corporate office, you have a whole network for APs because you will be having a lot of APs in that situation. So you need to have a specific network that you want to use for the AP management. So this is something you have to do on the network side. So once you do on the network side, then we come to the wireless side. So let me repeat what you have to do on the network side. You have to make sure you connect your AP to the switch by making sure you've patched it to the switch based on the IDF that you are dealing with. Then you configure your access port using the AP management VLAN. Once you establish that configuration, then you look for the MAC address on the switch. Every network engineer should be able to know this. So if you don't know, you just do show CDP neighbor with the ports and add details. It will give you the MAC address of the device. Based on the MAC address, then now you move to the switch side, okay? Going to the wireless controller side. After we are done on the switch configuration, we've got the MAC address. Then I'll walk you through what you are supposed to do in terms of the wireless side. So also let me add this. So when you go to your general information on your membership page under the wireless command line, we have APs which are standalone, and we have APs that work with controllers, which is called the lightweight APs. Sometimes you might not be able to determine it based on the look of it. So you can just log on through the console port, do show version to see the image. So this has troubled me before where I was connecting a standalone AP to wireless controller because I didn't pay attention, and I have to log on to this to be able to see the image. Always K9W7 refers to standalone. K9W8 is what works with controllers. So you can always console, do show version to be sure that the wireless controller will be able to work with what? The APs. That is very good to know. And also how to console to AP and hard code it. So we can have a situation where you have multiple wireless controller on your environment, and you want to just make sure that you are dealing with one specific wireless controller. This is also can be done for remote APs where you want them to connect to a specific wireless controller. You can just log on and make sure you configure it with the wireless information. So this will be what you are going to put in terms of the IP address you are going to use, the subnet marks, the gateway. So everything you see will be the static IP. This will be a situation where you want to use a static IP. And then you bring the wireless controller IP as well, the host name you want to have on the controller. All those things should be done. This one is the old version, but mostly the new version you use what CapWap. So that is very, very key to also be aware. So I'm referring to situation where you want to check the iOS, you want to hard code it and be able to point to a specific controller. Then you can put this information on the wireless controller to be able to do that. What I've done, this is the whole process, step by step. If you are not using the video, what I said was you connect to the AP to the switch and assign the AP management VLAN. That is your network requirement. and then you come to the switch and you do show CDP neighbor to know the AP name. So look for the new AP, okay? So you get the name or the MAC address, and you can use it to search on the wireless controller. So on the wireless controller, you log on with the IP, and then what are the things you change? You change the AP name. So by so doing, you click on the wireless tab, you do filter, and you get the AP. You log on and you make changes when the AP is found, and the things you have to change is what I've walked you through regarding the AP name, the location, all are on the general tab, okay? So these are very, very important. After that, then you apply, and then you can add it to a specific AP groups. So let me continue to show you how to add it to an AP group, which we've not covered in this video. So after you've made all the changes with the host name, the location, and AP mode, if you want it to be a local or you want it to also be a flex code, all those things, you make the changes over there. Then now you can go to the group that you want it to be part of, okay? So the purpose of the AP groups is some component, for example, the health sector, they have AP for clinical devices, and we configure a group for those APs. So you can associate it with that AP. So most companies go with that method. Some don't have a group setup. So whatever your company situation will be, I'm going to walk you through how to create a AP group. How to create AP group. In addition, then I'll let you understand how to also deal with adding an AP to a group, okay? So before we even go to the wireless controller, let me walk you through how to get it, how to get the switch, how do you call it, the AP on your switch, okay? So let me log on to my switch, and then we use the show CDP neighbor to get the AP so that you get the idea before I move to how do you call it, the wireless controller side, okay? So it means the AP is done. Let's check the management VLAN is done. Let's look for the how to get the details of the AP, then we search it on the wireless controller.
Case I'm using so those who start work and ask me how do we access then enable. If you have greater sign, remember that it's always enable. Then I'm using so I've already connected the AP. I've put in the right VLAN. So what I'll do is I'll do show CDP neighbor, and when I do show CDP neighbor, this is my new wireless controller. So this is the wireless controller that I'm going to configure. So it comes with this default name. This is what I need. I need a default name to be able to configure further. So what it means is that if you are working remotely or you are managing remotely, somebody has to give you the specific port, because you might log on and you see many of this name and you don't know which of them to use. So you have to be sure of the port that the AP is connecting to, so that you pick the right name. So you ask them, which port are you using? He says, I'm using port 10. Then you know that this is the AP that you have to go and search on the wireless controller to configure. So now, and all this process is in the guide, all this process. So I pick the name, I come here and I say change filter, because you might have so many APs that you cannot see straight away as you are seeing. So you have to filter with the name, okay? So you say change filter, and it will come at the bottom of it. It's at the bottom, and when you click on it, the most important thing is to change the name. So you change the name here, and over here you are going to work with only 2 sessions. If the wireless controller is local to the location, you choose local. Don't forget this principle. If you are doing the design of unified wireless controller deployment, when you have the branch office and you have the wireless controller at the data center, you have to choose the hybrid put edge AP setup. So you choose the HRIP. The HRIP too, you can have it to be what? Flex Connect. They are all the same. So you either have local HRIP. In terms of monitoring and sniffer and bridge, these are not things that you'll be using. I have not used it because I have not seen the significance of it. To monitor frequency, the wireless controller does it. So I don't set any AP to monitor mode. So it's either local or what? HRIP. So local is when you are local to the wireless controller. HRIP when it's in a branch office. So for this one, I'll choose this one. Then you come to high availability. High availability is not this one. We are going to discuss this one. It's not this one. It's a different ball game, okay? High availability that we are having here. We have wireless controllers which has this capability. But this one, what it means is that you are doing high availability so that the AP, but you have intermittent disconnection, which means that if you have two wireless controllers and one wireless controller is down, the AP has to get another wireless controller to manage it. And for that reason, you have to put this IP address of this one here. You put the name and you put the IP here. Then you put the secondary to here and you put the IP also here. So when this AP goes down and it's coming up, it will look for the first IP address. If you look for the first IP and it's not getting it, it will look for the second IP. Let me also show you this. I've had a situation where I'm installing AP. Pay attention to this thing I'm saying. I have a situation where I'm installing AP. There we had like 10 wireless controllers. I didn't do the hardcode configuration on the wireless, on the AP initially, hardcode configuration on the AP to identify the right wireless controller to use. I just connected it with the management VLAN. And after that, I didn't see where the AP is. So I have to be logging on to all the wireless controller to look for it. So I go to wireless controller 1 and I look for it. And I didn't get it, but I can see that the AP is also working. Not knowing the AP has associated itself with another wireless controller in Plano, all the way in Texas, and I was looking for it in England. So, but I could see because the AP was brought from there, which I didn't know, it has already been aware of that wireless controller. So what I realized was, this thing didn't make sense. I went through and I decided that let me go through all the wireless controllers we have, because I felt like it would be easier. I have to drive long distance to go and hard code that configuration. So I log on, and what I did was I wanted to be at New England. So I put New England IP address first and remove the existing IP address that the controller, the AP is having. Then I apply and reboot it. So when it's coming up, it will come to New England wireless control. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? You really have to understand what I'm saying for wireless controller. So discovery mode, it will be turning red and green, red, green. It becomes stable what? Green. Stable green means that it's associated with AP, wireless controller. But I log on to all the 10 wireless controller, and that AP is nowhere to be found. So I was kind of confused, you understand? Then I have to also have another data center in Plano, which also has so many wireless controller. So I logged to one of them and I got it. Now, how do you move that AP to your side? And that is what I'm talking about. To move AP from one controller to another controller, you have to remove the primary controller IP address and put the wireless controller that you want the AP to be connected with as first. Then the second one, you can put any of your tertiary or your secondary or your backup wireless controller. Then you have to reboot it. So as the AP is coming up again, it will not connect with the old one, it will connect with the new one. Do you guys get the point I'm making? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, now get it.
Okay. So now as it's connected to that aspect, then I can do apply and everything will be good. So this is how you move AP from one location to another location. And after you've done the high availability, you don't do anything again in terms of group. If you want to choose another AP group, you can come here and choose the remote office is here. You can do it from here, or you can go to this side, okay, and add it to the specific group that you want. You can come here and go to the group here and go to APs, and you see your AP there. You take it and you say add, and it will go to that specific group. Or you can do everything at the location that I was talking about. So you have advanced, you have general, you change the name, you change the local. This can never be disabled. If this is disabled, the AP will not work. When we are troubleshooting, you will see that some people will have dead zone. And all office, and let me also say this, the best way to deploy APs and wireless controller is every AP in the ceiling. If you don't have proper monitoring, you have to label it, even if you have labeled it. So physically, the AP is labeled. So when they go there, and it's labeled with the name you give to the AP. So if it's AP1, you label it AP1. If you are working with that practice, try to introduce it. It will help you in troubleshooting a lot. Now, if AP is malfunctioning, the desktop people will go there. You didn't know which AP to deal with. So you ask what is the AP name. Once you know the AP name, you come and search it. And when you search it, sometimes it's disabled. And that is the more reason why people are having issues. So it's very, very important. Now, when it comes to credential, there's nothing to do about it. You come to interface, you don't do much about it, okay? You come to high availability, that is where you do more about it. Now, if I want to broadcast specific radio frequency, I choose 0 and 1. 0 is BGN, 1 is AN. I can take with a specific one that I want it to broadcast in terms of showing it with the CDP aspect. Then you have this side. Then this one is what I've talked about. Then the priority, AP failover priority, we have low, mid, high, critical. I mean, this aspect, you can mimic the environment, you log on to one AP, and even most of the things I'm talking about, you can mimic from the environment. You log on to one AP and see all the checkbox and just be checking them. So you come here, here is just talking about the specific AP. So if you want to know the model of the AP2, you have it here and all those aspects. And when you come to the advanced level, most of the time, what you are, of course, we are using the proper country code, so it has to be what? US. You can't change that one as well. Then if you want to change the frequency, you change it from here to anything that you want. Then that is it. You are done. So this is all the configuration you need. So in an interview process, what are some of the things you do in wireless? Installing wireless controller is one. Installing APs is one, because you should know how to do it. Fred, why are you laughing? It's exactly what you are going to do. Okay, so installing wireless controller is one. Installing APs is one. And how do you configure a brand new wireless controller? Now you should know it. For example, this one, you have AP already working, which is already configured. Let me go here. I pick this one. And because they are the same location, because you describe your location, so the AP that I'm putting there, they are of the same location. So I know I'm using the same thing. So what I'll do is, the neighbor is by default. So here is local. Then I come to the next stage. If here is on check, I'll uncheck it. If it's check, it's check. Then you come to interface, the same style. Whatever is check is what I'll check. Whatever is on check is what I'll uncheck. So I'm mimicking what? The environment, okay? It's very important. Look, very important. You pick exactly what they have there, okay? And the advanced option, you come and choose the location that they are using. And like I'm saying, mimic. If they want to turn it, they want to SSH based on the company requirement, you just check the boxes that they want to, you just do the same thing. So this is how we install AP. So, and I also taught you how to move one AP to another wireless controller. So assuming I want to move this AP to a different wireless controller, all I'll put the name of the wireless controller over here. Then I'll put the IP address also here. Then I apply it. So the moment you apply and you go to reset. So reset, you go to general, and general below it, you have reset AP now. Let's try and mute our line, okay? Let's try and mute our line again. Okay, so people even don't know where the mute is. So when you say mute your line, they are still making noise. It's noise though. Okay, so if you want to move from one wireless controller to another one, after you change the IP address, then you do the reset AP. But right now, like I'm saying, you just go to general. It's general, high availability, and advanced, which you deal with. Apart from that, you don't deal with anything again. Okay.